Next is Sri Jawad Khan, founder of Tatpol Private Limited. Sri Rahul Soni, head of projects, EVI Technologies. Now I request, okay. Thank you. Yes, sir, I will. I request the session moderator to kindly take the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. So welcome to this panel discussion. This discussion is about sustainable mobility and transportation. So as it was said that I am Santanu Mishra, I work on EV infrastructure mainly. So I'll be the moderator of this session. So this vision of sustainable mobility is quite relevant in the present context. Because in order to achieve this, there are a lot of research and technological goals that still needs to be achieved. And in order to see how this vision is being taken forward, we have a distinguished class of experts today to shed light on these issues. I'm very honored to have a range of experts in this particular topic, starting from transportation planning to biofuels to EV manufacturing to motor, as well as EV charging infrastructure design, both from the industry and academia. So let me first introduce them, and then we will go ahead with some present with their visions, right? So let me first introduce Professor V.K. Vijay. So he is the IREDA chair professor at CRD IIT Delhi. So he's a very distinguished member of this society, with being the national coordinator of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, and he's also a stalwart in rural technology development, especially in biogas and biofuels. We have Professor Dr. Ravindra Kumar. He's the chief scientist at CSIR, Central Road Research Institute, and his primary goal is in research is transportation planning and environmental impact. And he's also a renowned expert in sustainable transportation from a vehicular emission point of view. So then we have Professor Geetam Tiwari. So she is a professor in civil engineering at IIT Delhi. She is our renowned expert in transportation issues for low-income countries, right? So she contributes in efficient transportation, pollution-free conveyance. So then we have Mr. Javed Khan. He is the CEO of Tatpol. So he will be our EV manufacturing expert in this panel discussion. And Tatpol primarily works on affordable, efficient and sustainable mobility solutions. We have Professor Saptarshi Basak. So he is a professor at Center for Automotive Research and Tribology, CART, at IIT Delhi. And he has rich industry experience in motor design, especially for two-wheelers and three-wheelers, which is very relevant to our country. Then we have Mr. Rahul Soni, who is the project head at EVI Technologies. So EVI Technology is a homegrown EV charging infra design company. So they make EV charging infrastructure. And they have also developed some battery swapping solution for our country. So let us start this discussion on sustainable mobility and transportation. So we'll start from Professor V.K. Vijay and hear his vision on this particular topic.
Namaskar. Today we are discussing about sustainable mobility. And if you locate the Indian scenario, हम लोग जो टू व्हीलर यूज़ करते हैं, फोर व्हीलर यूज़ करते हैं, ट्रैक्टर यूज़ करते हैं, ट्रेडिशनली वी वर यूजिंग बुलक कार्ट्स, एनिमल कार्ट्स। फिर हमारी पॉपुलेशन 32 करोड़ 1947 में थी, आज 140 करोड़ हो गई है। शहर हमारे इतने बढ़ गए हैं, इतने कंजेस्टेड हो गए हैं कि अगर दिल्ली में मेरे को 10 किलोमीटर ट्रेवल करना है, IIT दिल्ली से मान लो कनॉट प्लेस जाना है, कम से कम घंटा भर मान के चलते हैं हम लोग, कहीं भी जाना हो हमको। जबकि हम फोर व्हीलर में जा रहे हैं, 10 किलोमीटर हमको 10 मिनट में आ जाना चाहिए, 15 मिनट लगना चाहिए। और जब दिल्ली में 3 करोड़ लोग रह रहे हैं, सबको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में, कम्यूट करने में, अपने वर्क से होम, वर्क प्लेस से होम और होम से वर्क प्लेस, या और कोई भी मार्केट के काम में, तो कितना समय हमारा बिना मतलब वेस्ट हो रहा है। वी हैव टू कंसिडर दैट। सेकेंड, कि स्टिल ओनली नियरली 30% पॉपुलेशन इज रिजाइडिंग इन आवर सिटीज़, और अभी भी 69% पीपल आर रिजाइडिंग इन रूरल एरियाज़। गांव के लोग जो पहले एनिमल्स यूज़ कर रहे थे, अपना घोड़ा या बैलगाड़ी, वो भी सब टू व्हीलर पे आ गए हैं, साइकिल भी छोड़ दिया उन्होंने। अब ज़्यादातर के पास मैं देख रहा हूँ घरों में टू व्हीलर्स होते हैं, है ना। अब टू व्हीलर्स के लिए पेट्रोल चाहिए, शहरों में हम जो व्हीकल चला रहे हैं उसमें लिए पेट्रोल चाहिए, तो उसके लिए अब ईवी शहरों में चलने लग शुरू हुआ है। तो जितना पेट्रोल हमको चाहिए, लगभग उसका 80% हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं। लास्ट ईयर तक की फिगर लगभग 9 लाख करोड़ थी, अभी बढ़कर इस पर 13-14 लाख करोड़ तक पहुंचने वाली है। जब हम 13-14 लाख करोड़ का इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं फॉसिल फ्यूल, उसको एमिट कर रहे हैं, ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशन और क्लाइमेट चेंज जिससे हो रहा है, और ये पेमेंट है वो कंट्री का पेमेंट जो है हमको डॉलर्स में जनरली करना पड़ता है। तो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट इज अफेक्टेड वाइल वी आर इम्पोर्टिंग दिस फॉसिल फ्यूल। तो क्यों नहीं हम ऐसा कोई अल्टरनेटिव सोचें, जैसे ईवी अब शुरू हुआ है, जिससे कि हम सस्टेनेबल वे में हमारे अपने रिसोर्सेज को यूज़ करके उसका अल्टरनेटिव कुछ निकाल पाएँ। तो हम लोगों ने थोड़ा सा बायोगैस पे काम शुरू किया करीब 15 साल पहले, और आई एम हैप्पी टू शेयर कि हमने टेक्नोलॉजी भी डेवलप किया, IIT दिल्ली ने उसको कॉमर्शलाइज भी किया, उसको गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को भी दिया, और BIS का स्टैंडर्ड भी बनाया कि बायो मीथेन फॉर व्हीकुलर फ्यूल। और आप देखिए कि मैं IIT दिल्ली में बायोगैस प्लांट हमारा पिछले 35 ईयर से चला रहे हैं। पहले गोबर से चलता था, अब गोबर आसपास है नहीं, तो हमने क्या किया कि करीब 200 घरों से किचन वेस्ट हम लाते हैं, रोज़ कलेक्ट करते हैं, वो बायोगैस प्लांट में डालते हैं, उसको क्रश करके उससे जो बायोगैस बनती है 20 क्यूबिक मीटर पर डे, उसको प्योरीफाई करते हैं। वो टेक्नोलॉजी हमने डेवलप की, पेटेंट कराई है, और उसी से मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ न्यू एंड रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी ने हमको टेस्ट करने के लिए गाड़ी दी थी 2011 में, और वो गाड़ी पिछले 11 साल से बायोगैस पे चल रही है। तो वो कभी पेट्रोल पंप नहीं जाती, और उसके एमिशंस भी बढ़िया हैं, उसका माइलेज भी अच्छा है, उसका ड्राइविंग भी अच्छा है। ड्राइवर से आप पूछोगे तो बताएगा हाँ कि पेट्रोल की गाड़ी चलाएं, CNG की गाड़ी चलाएं, डीजल की गाड़ी चलाएं, उससे भी सिटी ड्राइविंग में बहुत अच्छी है ये। तो वी हैव टू डेवलप ए सिस्टम, इकोसिस्टम, कि हम अपने घरों में, अपने आसपास में जो भी ऑर्गेनिक वेस्ट है उसको बायोगैस में कन्वर्ट कर लें। पहले तो LPG को रिप्लेस कर लें कुकिंग के लिए, अगर ज़्यादा क्वांटिटी है तो देन यू कैन प्योरीफाई इट एंड यू कैन यूज इट एज ए व्हीकुलर फ्यूल। तो अभी हमारा एक PhD स्कॉलर काम भी कर रहा है टू व्हीलर पे, बायोगैस टू व्हीलर। यहाँ बाहर खड़ा है, वो जो स्कूटी है वो भी हम बायोगैस से चला रहे हैं। उसमें 1.5 किलोग्राम्स के 2 छोटे छोटे सिलेंडर हैं CNG वाले, उसमें इंस्टीड ऑफ CNG वी आर फिलिंग बायोगैस, प्योरीफाइड बायोगैस, बायोमीथेन। हमने IIT दिल्ली में वो सिस्टम भी बना रखा है ग्रामोदय परिसर में, कि जो किचन वेस्ट आता है उससे बायोगैस प्लांट, फिर बायोगैस जो प्योरीफाई होती है उसको स्टोर करके फिलिंग सिस्टम बना रखा है। तो कोई भी गाड़ी में हम प्योरीफाइड बायोगैस भर सकते हैं, बायो CNG भर सकते हैं, कंप्रेस्ड बायोगैस भर सकते हैं। तो टू व्हीलर हम भर रहे हैं और फोर व्हीलर में भर रहे हैं। अब क्योंकि इंडिया में गाँव में तो टू व्हीलर होने हैं, हम ट्रैक्टर भी चला रहे हैं। हमारा ग्रामोदय परिसर है, उसमें बायोगैस ट्रैक्टर भी है। तो वी हैव टू थिंक टुवर्ड्स कि अगर गांव में, पूरे गांव में जो भी एग्रीकल्चरल रेजिड्यू है और जो हमारा काउडंग है और ह्यूमन एक्सक्रीटा है, उन सबको यूज़ करके हम बायोगैस बनाएं। जितने घर हैं उनको हम एलपीजी को सप्लाई करें पाइपलाइन से गैस को, और एडिशनल गैस है उसको प्योरीफाई करके वहाँ जितने भी टू व्हीलर हैं गांव में उनको आप बायोगैस भर सकते हैं उसमें। तो अब बायोगैस का डिज़ाइन कैसा हो, सेफ्टी नॉर्म्स क्या क्या हों, उसके उस पर काम करने की ज़रूरत है। क्यों टू व्हीलर में मोटरसाइकिल जल्दी चल रही है आजकल, तो मोटरसाइकिल की डिज़ाइन कैसी हो, उसमें जो सिलेंडर लगेगा सीएनजी वाला वो कैसा लगेगा, उसका सेफ्टी फीचर्स क्या होगा। तो इस पर हो सकता है कि सत्ता सी कुछ कर रहे हों, अगर नहीं कर रहे हों तो आई रिक्वेस्ट हिम टू कंसिडर दिस एज ए न्यू रिसर्च एक्टिविटी फॉर आवर कंट्री। तो मुझे तो यही कहना है कि जो हमारा क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है, जो ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशंस हो रहे हैं, उनको हमको कम करना है, तो वी हैव टू यूज़ मोर एंड मोर लोकल रिसोर्सेज। पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स हमको कम से कम यूज़ करेंगे तो अच्छा है, ताकि एमिशंस हमारे कम होंगे and we can have a sustainable future for our planet Earth. Thank you very much.
Okay, so this let me just add to that. Sir, like while you were talking, actually it interested me that see, even though we are using EV, we have to charge the battery, right?
Yes, yes.
So that battery charging has to be done through electricity that is generated by coal or
So we can generate
so
electric
then
power, yes, yes.
so there is a huge
So even in rural areas or urban areas, we can generate power from biogas.
right.
We are having a 20 kilowatt generator there, but because quantity of gas available is less, so we are not generating power because power available in my lab. तो हम उसको यूज नहीं कर रहे हैं, पर we can do that also.
Okay,
Yes.
so in fact this will be very an excellent idea for rural places
हाँ,
because
मैं तो कह रहा हूँ कि गांव के अंदर आपका ह्यूमन एक्सक्रीटा, काऊ डंग, एग्रीकल्चर रेजिड्यू, किचन वेस्ट, जितना भी ऑर्गेनिक मटेरियल अवेलेबल है गांव में, शहर में, सब जगह उसको यूज कर लीजिए। अर्बन एरियाज में भी मल्टी स्टोरीज में आपके पास मान लो एक की ब्लॉक में या एक की टावर में 24 हाउसेज हैं या 30 हाउसेज हैं, उनमें जितना भी किचन वेस्ट निकल रहा है उनको आप ले लीजिए, ज़मीन पे एक छोटा सा प्लांट, आजकल पोर्टेबल बायोगैस प्लांट्स आर अवेलेबल, वो लगा दीजिए, तो कम से कम 2 घरों की अगर एलपीजी को हम रिप्लेस कर पाए तो दैट इज ए गुड कंट्रीब्यूशन फ्रॉम आवर साइड। तो वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट भी हो रहा है और आपको एनर्जी सेविंग भी हो रहा है और ग्रीन फ्यूल भी आपको मिलेगा।
Okay, so let's now broaden our discussion. So we have two experts on sustainable transportation. We'll start with Professor Tiwari. So let us hear your vision on this.
So I think sustainable transport has a lot of relevance, and I would say that Indian cities still haven't lost the opportunity completely, but we are losing it fast. Why I say that? Because traditionally our cities have been mixed land use patterns and high density. And we do talk about sprawl because, cities like Delhi look very large and spread out. But when we start actually looking at hard data, even in a city like Delhi, 75% trips are shorter than 10 kilometers. Majority people are not traveling long distances. And in fact, our last census gave a very, I would say, very interesting number, which many people may find surprising, that in a city like Delhi, which has the highest car ownership in the country, 35% people walk to work. And this does not include walking to bus stop or walking to metro. So, and it's mostly because of our poverty, I would say. These are the people who cannot afford any other mode of transport. So when we look at sustainable transport, we are looking at many aspects. Of course, we are looking at immediate low carbon transport, emission benefits. But at the same time, now a very important aspect has also been started being discussed is health impacts of transport. And lack of active transport is leading to a lot of negative health impacts. not just negative impacts on emissions and greenhouse gases, but also on health. And lack of active transport is leading to increase in obesity, increase in cerebrovascular diseases, mental diseases. Lot of things are scientists are relating to this. So that's what I started by saying, that in Indian cities, we have the opportunity to retain trips which are outside motorized vehicles. Because in all cities in India, majority trips are basically, the non-motorized trips are walking and bicycling. And then when we talk about motorization, it is actually two-wheelers, not so much cars. So let me just quickly pick up the two aspects of this, because they are pretty challenging when we talk about sustainability. So of course, walking is very sustainable. The thing is that we have created, and we are not paying much attention to walking infrastructure, so the environment is very hostile for pedestrians. And yet we find a large number of people walking because they don't have any other choice. So when we talk about future sustainable transport mobility, we have to plan safe places and safe infrastructure for pedestrians. Every single public transport user is also a pedestrian. So that is also actually reflecting on your public transport share, which again you would say is a sustainable mode of transport, whether we talk about buses or metro, both. Now, motorized two-wheeler actually poses a real challenge in terms of sustainability, because it is the mode itself has the highest risk in getting involved in traffic crashes. No matter what we do, even if you wear a helmet, helmet is only 30% effective. So the mode itself, I mean, you are going at a high speed, you are mixed with high-speed traffic, and you're completely exposed. You can change the fuel, but it remains high-risk mode. And it is, think of it from the user's perspective. It is very flexible. It is very reliable because it's available all the time. It can take you to your final destination easily. A motorized two-wheeler does not get stuck in congestion. So from user's perspective, it makes perfect sense to use a motorized two-wheeler. The only way to, I would say, not remove 100% of the trips, but kind of provide an option is that your public transport system has to start competing with motorized two-wheelers in terms of reliability, in terms of comfort, in terms of availability, and that is what we are not doing. So I think if we are able to actually prioritize the kind of public transport which can compete with motorized two-wheelers, then we are talking about sustainable public transport system. And of course, I think the first step is to, because majority of our trips are short trips, they can easily be done by bicycling and walking. The only problem is that I think we are so lost in solving the problem for car congestion that we are taking away all the space which rightly belongs to pedestrians and bicycles. So our real challenge is actually to really emphasize on that. And unless we are able to, I would say, accept car congestion, and at the cost of car congestion, provide for pedestrians, bicycles, and public transport, we are not talking about sustainable mobility. We cannot meet at least 9 major goals of SDGs, SDG 3.6, 11.2, 9.7, and 7.2. You cannot meet without emphasizing on pedestrians. I think so for me, the future city is a sustainable city, is solving problems for pedestrians. There is no other alternative. Thank you.
Yeah, I can see the passion with what you just mentioned, and that brings us to a pretty nice tale on Dr. Ravindra Kumar, because he's an expert in transportation planning and emission. So let's hear for him.
Thank you for giving me opportunity. As you might be aware that in coming 2050, we'll have more than 10 crore population, urban population, and probably the huge growth in populations and rapid urbanization has resulted to the lot of traffic problems, air pollution problems, as well as congestion, delays, safety, and accident issues. You might be surprised that we lose more than 156 hours in a year in traffic jam. And especially in evening rush hour, you make for every 30 minutes of trip, you add another 25 minutes extra due to jam. In morning, maybe 16 minutes extra. So it's not only your value of time is lost there. It's also you are losing the fuel. You are making the pollutions on the street. So if you see in terms of the vehicular pollutions, already its contribution to the total pollution is around 27% in India. And you might be aware that Delhi is one of the most polluted city in the world. That's a surprise that where is our quality of life is going. So the question is always asked with the transport planner that how we are living, how is our quality of life. Long back we have the very clean water. We were able to drink from the direct source. Now water is polluted. Now another source, air is polluted. So if you see in terms of the sustainability aspect, where we cover the environment side, social side, as well as economic side, then it's a larger question posed to us: what development we are doing? Is it development if we are not able to inhale the proper air? Almost hardly we find a single day in Delhi where the air quality is below the normal level. That's the alarming point. In some of the countries, even they close when it goes to the yellow level. The whole city is closed, like lockdown. If you remember in the lockdown, the city was closed and we were able to see the clean sky. It's the same Delhi, because of the traffic problem, and again we have come to the same level. So it shows that nature has given everything. It's a created problem of our society. So in that context, we have to see how the role of transportation and transportation behavior aspect can be changed. Now we are living in the era of digital revolution. Lot of things when we were not able to get, like 10 years, 20 years back, we don't have the e-commerce that time. Now we have the another revolution of the e-commerce, which is like if you earlier we want to go to shopping, then you will waste your 10 hours going there and then we will whole day. Now we have the digital revolution, and that's making your life easier. In fact, the switch of the younger generations as well as the older one also, they like that everything should be delivered in their house. So in that context, if you see the freight revolution, it's directly changing. It's an integration of artificial intelligence and e-commerce and in telematics, what we call. So it's all integrated together. Probably we have to look into the new dimension of the today's populations and new dimension of the technology, where the transportation can be the source where we can minimize our trips. Like Madam has told already, we have the many trips which are not up to even 10 kilometers. So in that case, even the smaller trips, is it possible like we can go for the change in the travel behavior? Like recently in lockdown we have experienced about the work from home culture. Of course, it has saved a lot of trips, because when you come out from the home, then directly or indirectly, you are polluting the cities. And in that context, if you see, in terms of not only environment, you are also losing your value of travel time. And value of time means, like many of them, now we have per capita income is so high. And if you convert into the 1 hour daily travel time into the per capita income, so much loss we are losing for the nation. Similarly, for fuel consumption also, if we are just in the jam, so much fuel loss we are making. And this, Professor Vijay has told that we are paying money to the Gulf countries and other countries for the importing the fuels. So in that context, how we can see the change in the travel behavior, that is more important. Rather than, and also if you see it in terms of safety, a lot of issues has been raised about the two-wheelers and all, and electric vehicles. Probably sometimes what I see in the vision, that of course electric vehicle is very zero emissions vehicle. But in terms of sustainability, whether it is going to reduce the congestion on the city, it is the major question we have to ask. So in that case, we have to see that how we can segregate the electrification of different modes of travel, like two-wheelers or micro-mobility, like cycles or plus cycle, little bit added with electric vehicles. So we have to see all the segment, because our new generation has lot of expectation. They don't want to travel, like sir has told, they don't want to travel on cycle. So let them should use the motorcycle, but maybe it's some sort of electric cycle. So we have to not want to look into the car aspect, like also Professor Geetam has told, there is a car-based thinking. That has to be changed from that, and we have to offer the intelligent solution to our new generation, because we have a lot of younger population in the country. And their expectation, they think that our Dada was running the cycle, why I should run the cycle? Whether we have not developed now. So at least we have to give some edges in that. And many of the startups are now coming with cater the micro mobility aspect. And that's a very good start. Like in the fashion with the cycle. So that's giving the, like health issues Madam has talked. Even the health is, because it's a bimodal, means you can cycle as well as you can use the electric also. So it's something like that where you can use for the health also, and also the safety issues. That's much important, because always we have seen that car-based society means car-based planning. So from that aspect, somewhere we have to see that how best we can go for the public transport system. Public transport system, until unless we don't improve the public transport system, we can keep running on this type of workshop. It's now not going to change the sustainability aspect, because sustainability covers the economic aspect also. And public transport system offers you the economics as well as safety. So once the reliability component is coming into the picture in the public transport system, probably what we are looking, the shift from the cars to this, because as you might be knowing that that before metros, there were a lot of cars population, they were not willing to shift. Now after coming of the good reliable transport system, even car owner, they want to go by the metro, because they know that in traffic jam there is no reliability of the to reach the what time we will reach to office or destination. So once your public transport system is so much reliable, as well as I am talking about in terms of the efficient, in terms of fuel efficient, in terms of different fuel blended with, so that it can reduce the emissions. So all together, and apart from that, your use of telematics and integrated artificial intelligence and so many, now we have the portals. You see the new aggregators like Ola, Uber and other platforms. They have changed the game way we were looking at earlier. So that's making you the cheaper as well as easy to get. Means you are knowing that within 2 minutes it will come, so you will not take your ordinal way of traveling. So your traveling has changed. Lot of changes has been because of these IT interventions. So hopefully what I see in the future, maybe autonomous car is one of the vision already in developed country. They are having driverless vehicles all already coming. But in India, again, I am talking about in terms of economy. So in terms of economy, autonomous car again is going to create another problems, maybe in terms of economy aspect. Although from technology aspect, it's very good. But again, the safety issues and so many sensors and all, there are complications in that. So hopefully we have to see our country, how is our profile, how is our income level, how our tradition is there, how is our freight things, what are the distribution centers, what we distribute, and that what is our culture. So taking all this together, and how is our land use development. A lot of things has been told in earlier speaker from SPA. So we have to look into the holistic approach It's not like only transport can solve. Even land use planning, that is going to help you, like transit-oriented development. A lot of concept is coming, and that's making you the trip very longer trip to very smaller trip. Even the commercial as well as residential mixed land use. That's making you your trips almost zero. Means you are just going down at the shop and taking your things and going up. So that's type of multiple combination along with the different working style as well as different staggering hours. Even hours also it's one of the problems when we have the lot of peak hours. So how to shift our peak hours so that at least congestion level we can reduce. In Corona period, if you remember, we have 2-3 standard timing were allocated that you will travel from 8:30 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10:30. Hopefully that keep on doing all this aspect in spite of Corona is gone almost. But we have to look into that how best we can utilize that policies into the practice. And once we use it, probably one to other dimension, hopefully we'll achieve the sustainable transport and safe transport, more fuel efficient transport and cleaner transport. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have both students as well as startups in our audience. For students, listening to experts like this will give you idea about the future research that can be taken up, right? And for startups, you can always see where else your technology can be developed, and it can be it can create a new startup for you, right? So that is one of the take-home messages of listening to all our experts. So we'll continue our discussion. So we'll go to our next speaker, Javed Khan. Javed, okay, right. So let us hear your vision from an industry perspective, how this sustainability vision will come
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for the panel discussion. So I will just go first with the audience. How many people are having electric cars currently? Electric vehicles, maybe two-wheeler, four-wheeler. So the answer is very clear. No. Two-wheeler, the two-wheeler also. So the question, the reason behind asking this question is very clear that if we ask this question to anybody, even to a customer also, being as a startup end, so they give the answer in the two ways. They said, ki first of all, the charging infrastructure, it is not in our country, it is not in our cities. And the other most important, which I think also is that price. Because what we get in these 7-8 lakh rupees of range, that is something which we get in the 15 lakh rupees of range. If I give the example, like if I go for a Tata car or even Mahindra, the 140-150 kilometer range is almost 13 lakh rupees. And in the 13 lakh rupees, I have a lot of options in the IC car. So that is something which is currently in the market. So what we come up and what we are providing is that, what if tell you that you will get the same thing, the 150 kilometer range, the same power, the same thing in 5 lakh rupees. So this is all about what we are doing. We are making electric cars without adding new cars on road. The problem, scrappage policy, the lot of cars in the road, we are working on that. You are having currently, it's been approved by the Central Motor Vehicle Act. Even the Delhi government has approached this thing into the practically implemented. If you are having a diesel car, either it's Mercedes, either it's any small vehicle, if it is diesel, you can't run it on road after 10 years. It is illegal. But there is a provision. If you make it electric, you will run it on road. And you will get additional life of 7 years on that after the fitness. So the solution is there. The problem is there. Only the thing is the implementation. But being as a startup, how the implementation work is the costing part, the economics part, the charging infrastructure, and a lot of things. So how we work and how we come in the sustainability mobility, if we talk about, this is something which we have to look on. 20 million cars are ready for the scrappage. And it's a 5.2 billion of market. And I'm very, proudly to say that we started making it for the Indian Army. They come, in the front foot, and we are making their gypsies to electric, and we have successfully done it. Now the gypsy, which was giving 9 rupees per kilometer, the range, 9 kilometer per liter, it is the same gypsy which is giving 150 kilometer per charge. 18 kilowatt of energy it is taking, and it is running for 150 kilometer. So if we calculate with the economics, if we go with the economics, it means 1500 rupees of petrol. Now it's around 180 rupees if we take it as a 10 rupees unit, and the zero emission. So it is something which we are working on. And this is not the only market which we are currently looking. We have the other market in which we, because we started from the IIT Delhi. The first project I did as from IIT Delhi, that was converting vintage car to electric. And you are surprised that it's a 510 million of market in India. And we successfully converted around 10 to 12 cars into the EV. And we are having a lot of clients from all over India. For them, the problem is the mechanics, the service, the maintenance, a lot of things. And in the same way, we converted India's first Mercedes, the premium car, into electric. That is, we convert the Mercedes to electric. And we are having currently 30 crore rupees of order only from Delhi NCR. And people are calling every day us. The reason is they can't run their vehicles on road, because it is on the diesel, and for the petrol 15 years, it is totally illegal. So for us, it is very clear that the sustainability mobility, if we are approaching in such a way, to reduce the vehicles on the road, why I have to go for another EV currently? Because as per the infrastructure and the tech we are having, if we are having a vehicle, we can just make it electric and we can run it on road. As we know, the minimum the travel in the city like Delhi is 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers. For even 10 kilometers of range, you can use that vehicle. So the thing is that being as into the tech or being as into the startup, it is very clear you have to make the solution, or you have to give the solution very affordable and very reliable, so that a person can use it easily. And definitely the economics are there.
Javed, if I may ask, I'm sorry to interrupt. All vehicles have a different capacity, right? So when you retrofit EVs into it, do you take that into consideration, or it will be a same size fit all?
Basically, it has been categorized into the weight. For us, as per the rules we are working on, the whole vehicles are categorized into weight. 1100 weight category, 1400 weight category, 1800 weight category. In the 1100 weight category, maximum around 60% of cars, Indian cars, come under that. And what we are, as being into this, sir also know that being into this electrical part, the electrical motor having a better torque and better efficiency than the IC engines. So that is we look into, and definitely it is not something I will just take the motor, put the motor and batteries, and it will run on the road. No, there is a proper certification from the ICAT and ARI. After that, you will get a green number plate and you can run on the road. And definitely the warranties are there. So this is something which we go for, and this is how mechanically and in the starting the calculations we done and make it worthy.
It's very interesting to hear. Just one last comment from my side. So do you see any problems because see, after 10 years of vehicle life, only one part is being replaced with EV. The rest of the parts remain the same. So do you see any issues with the other parts that are still there?
Sir, definitely the part is there, the issues are there, the bearing, the transmissions, these are there. But I told you what you will get in the 15 lakh rupees, I am giving you into the 4 lakh rupees. Okay. Our motto is to the minimum. I'm not saying you just take my car and go for a Jaipur trip or go for an Agra trip. Go to the Noida and Gurgaon. That is something you can roam around the city. And what we are talking about, the pollution, the sustainability, the mobility, that what we are working on. I'm not claiming that we are making something 500 kilometer of range, no, sir. It is 150 kilometer practical range, 200 kilometer, which you actually can implement. Like the vehicle we are having, just roaming around the city, going to airport, going to the Noida, and it is giving good mileage, the range. So that is we are working on. This is how we are, coming into that. Just go with the step by step, and then we can expand all these things.
Okay. So that tells very nicely into what Rahul is working on. So EV charging. So you actually voiced the concern of charging your electric vehicle. So let's see what Rahul has to say about sustainable development.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So Jawad asked one question, that how many of us own EV? So it was very rare. So I asked another question: how many of us order from Amazon, Zomato, or something? I guess most of us. So I want to bring one more aspect on the sustainability, that is the logistic part. So we have talked about the personal vehicle, that is four-wheeler, two-wheeler. So there is a huge pollution contributed by the logistic that comes from the three-wheeler, that is tempo. That's like the most famous is the Tata Ace, and the lorries, like which comes from interstate. And so that is why we are having a restricted timings for the trucks and all that. So that is in the during the evening. So we EVA technology, as an EVA technology, so we started in 2017, and since then we are into electric charging infrastructure provider and battery swapping stations. So we are also the part of NHEV, and in that NHEV I want to introduce, or I want to bring one more thing. So in case of Delhi, to reduce the pollution and the transportation, what we are planning is to make charging hubs at the peripheral. And these are going to be very big hubs, and it is going to be under pilot project. So the big trucks and lorries, they will come to that charging hubs, and they will, offboard their products or items over there, which we get at our home from two-wheeler delivery boy through Amazon and other like Flipkart, Snapdeal. So from that EV, like three e-loaders will pick up for a particular area. Like for Dwarka, they will pick from Gurgaon and they will bring it to the hub in the Dwarka. So now the trucks and all coming into the Delhi or passing, or we are already having external peripheral area. I hope that is being, that is aware, we all are aware of. So they can pass through that, and that is also being made to reduce the pollution in Delhi. So now the transportation for the logistic can be done from these kind of hubs from external, like at the majorly at the border of the Delhi, and can be bring down to the local hubs, and from there also there will be some charging points at those hubs, and two-wheeler which can give last mile delivery option. So this is one big opportunity for India, because we are actually, since lockdown, we are ordering a lot of stuff through online, like Amazon, Zomato and all that. And being into charging and e-mobility, so we are also focused on battery swapping station, because if we are having two-wheeler for like Domino's and Zomato and all, because and all that, so we need a vehicle which runs at least 10 hours or 12 hours, because the trips has to be higher, and the run is less than 10 kilometers only, or even Zomato is having a limit of 7 kilometers or 8 kilometers. They are already having made a very good systems in India. So we don't have to work on those systems. We just have to provide charging infrastructures at those restaurants, and so that even there is a waiting time also. So for example, if I book something, I book food from one restaurant, so the valet has to go to that place, and there is at least a waiting of 5 minutes to 10 minutes. So during that time, we can deploy charged batteries in those shops or restaurants, and those are, most of those restaurants are cloud-based, so they don't have sitting in those restaurants. So there also they can swap the batteries. So that's how we can work on the logistics and the food business, which is actually have proven a very major part and contributing a lot of pollution apart from the public, the private and the public part.
Before I ask you a follow-up question, let me tell you the context in which I am asking this question. Okay, so when we talk about EV charging infrastructure, basically the point is that you go to a place and charge your vehicle, right? There is a charger and we charge our vehicle. Now, think about this. When we are charging our vehicle, we are actually taking power from the grid, right? So when thousands and thousands of vehicles are taking power from the grid, then the grid is actually kind of, its resources are also limited. So what generally is done is, in EV charging infra system, there are renewables that are there are batteries that are there. Okay, so it is hard to realize that actually batteries play a very important role in EV charging infrastructure design as well. Because
Yes, sir.
you cannot just take power from the grid all of a sudden like 60 kilowatt or 100 kilowatt. So in that context, if I may ask you, like when you deploy your EV charging chargers that you have designed, I have seen many of them that work perfectly fine, absolutely gorgeous stuff. But now the question is that when you are deploying them, you must be taking power from the grid. Right. So have you given any thought to expansion to EV infrastructure design, or you are already doing it?
Yeah, so currently in Delhi, we are having 15 charging stations, and the land is provided by NDMC. Like that time it was NDMC, now they have all merged. So in that we have 4 different type of chargers. One is slow charger for 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler, and it's like AC001. And one is DC charger, which is majorly for the e-loaders, which charges the e-loader into 50 minutes. And the third is CCS charger, which charges basic, like very popular vehicle like Nexon EV in 50 minutes. So these kind of charging infrastructure we are providing, and through government there is a huge support because for the infrastructure, the most important part is the land. And for land, we have, like earlier it was like we have to give the rent on monthly basis, but now it is being related to the energy. So what is happening is if I have installed or set up one charging station in NDMC area, like if we talk about this area, there is a Rajendra Da Dhaba nearby, and most of us like must be knowing about that. So there is a SDMC parking, so we have got that area. Now what policy has come up with, we don't have to pay a fixed rent to the government. We have to pay 1 rupee per kilowatt hour for the consumption. So in that way, they are very much supportive, so that we don't have to worry whether of the ROI of the land, especially the land, because earlier it was like 2,000 rupees per vehicle per parking charge I had to pay to the NDMC. But now it is just 1 rupee, and only when it is being consumed.
I see a lot of synergy between what you are trying to do and what Professor Vijay's research is, like supporting the charging infrastructure through a generator that runs on biofuel. Absolutely sustainable thing. But that obviously doesn't solve the problem of vehicles on the road and things like that. For that, non-motorized transportation have to be made rather popular. So if I may point out, all the things that we are discussing, you will see that there are a lot of opportunities of research, a lot of opportunity for development of softwares. Because when you are putting batteries, or what should be the capacity of the charger, all these things have to be decided through a simulating software. And very important for you to know that in my lifetime, okay, I have been in this field for 15 years. Each and every software that I use comes from the West. Okay, believe me, each and every software that I use. Okay, whatever I have used comes from the West. We pride ourselves in simulator design, we call it techies and things like that. Overall, I have never seen an Indian software being very popular in the field that I am working. I'm not saying that they are not being done. I'm pretty sure that most of the work is being done here in Bangalore or Hyderabad or Delhi, but the company belongs to the West, right? So this is where we have a lot of opportunity for developing softwares which will help this EV charging infrastructure design, what should be the capacity of the charger that is being put, and all these things, so that we solve our problem. See, like I always make a point when taking a class that जब आपके घर में आग लगा हो ना, तो आप IEEE पेपर नहीं पढ़ते हैं, आप जाके सॉल्व करते हैं अपने आप को, right? So that is the whole point. So with that, I will just digress and take that EV infrastructure design to the motorized vehicle. So now, Saptarshi, like what will be very interesting for our audience to know is, like, how does the motor design play into the capacity of charger and the capacity of sustainable development?
Okay, very good afternoon to all of you, and thanks for providing me an opportunity to speak in this platform. So, as Professor Santanu sir has pointed out, so the motor plays a very important part in the powertrain aspects. So we have talked about the charging infrastructure, the effect of charging on the grid. So if you draw a huge amount of power from the grid, so then definitely it has some negative impacts on the grid itself. Now coming to the components of the powertrain, we generally have the motor, which has replaced the traditional IC engine, and we have along with that the motor controller. Now the biggest impact the motor design will have on the EV itself is on the battery. So if you suddenly try to accelerate and the motor draws a huge amount of current, then the battery will definitely, the temperature of the battery will rise. Okay, so the battery will discharge faster. So the first impact which will happen is that you need to charge your battery very frequently. So you take a very simple example you can take in your mobile phone. So if you see a lot of YouTube videos, right? If you talk a lot over the phone, then what happens that your battery drains out very quickly. Similarly, if your motor is incapable or the motor itself is not able to start, or you have a lot of start stops, so your motor is inefficient, so there is a chance that your battery will run out fast. So it is important that what we can talk is about the mileage. So that what we can talk about in that aspect of motor design. So another important aspect is that how do you design the motor, and today since we are talking about the sustainable development and sustainable urban mobility, one important aspect in that the type of motor which we use. So if you talk about the different policies which the Indian government presently has, the Make in India policy is the one which is more popular. So in that respect, if we consider that where we stand in terms of motor design and the motor controller, as Santanu sir has also pointed out about the software, and Professor V.K. Vijay has also pointed out about the import of oil. Definitely the motor and the motor controller, they are maximum imported from one particular country. So in Indian context, Niti Aayog and other planning commissions, they have planned to make a sustainable development of the motor technology. Most importantly, the development of in-house development of motors, the motor controllers. So in academics, we have the know-how. We can transfer this know-how to the industry, and we invite the industry to take up our designs, take up our algorithms, transfer from the software, transfer from the equations to the practical knowledge which they have. Handshaking of the industry and the academics will help us to make the sustainable development. Thank you.
We have a few minutes left. Let's have some questions from the audience before I go to the concluding remarks. Yeah. You have mic? We have 3 mics. It's okay.
Hello sir, good afternoon. Sir, myself Father Srivastav. I am from ARSD College, Delhi University. Sir, I have a question for all of you. Sir, why we are not moving towards the solar energy? It is free and it is also from nature. And sir, like in country China and other European countries, it is mostly dependent on the solar energy. Sir, it is a question. and it is also good for upcoming generation, future generation.
If you allow, can I respond, or just respond and then give it to you? So we do use solar energy especially for battery charging. Otherwise, it will not be sustainable, right? If battery charging is happening through a grid, then obviously the grid power is coming from some coal power plant and things like that. So obviously the solar energy has to have a lot to play in this process of battery charging. You can just add to this.
देखिए कि पूरी दुनिया में हम लोगों पे सूर्य की पूरी कृपा है। आप देखिए कि राजस्थान में, दिल्ली में साल भर में कम से कम 7-8 महीने हमारे पास सनशाइन रहती है, बहुत अच्छी। यूरोप में जाएंगे तो बिल्कुल ठंडा रहता है। अपने यहाँ दिन 12 घंटे का दिन, 12 घंटे का रात होता है। यूरोप में जाओगे तो पता चलेगा कि शाम को 4 बजे तो रात हो गई है, और कभी कभी रात के 10 बजे तक भी सन उग रहा है, सूर्य उग रहा है। तो सोलर एनर्जी पे पिछले 5 साल में इंडिया ने जितना काम किया है उतना किसी ने नहीं किया। 175 गीगावाट ये हमारा टारगेट था 2030 तक। हमने अभी तक लगभग उस पे आने वाले हैं। मतलब हमारी जितने भी एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट है उसमें से अगले 10 साल में हम लोग 50% सोलर एनर्जी से लेने वाले हैं। तो ये, और आप देखिए कि मैं रिन्यूएबल पे काम करता हूँ। 10 साल पहले सोलर एनर्जी की कॉस्ट थी लगभग 17-18 रुपये पर किलोवाट, एक यूनिट का 17-18 रुपये प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट होती थी। आज 2 रुपये 30 पैसे आ गए, दुनिया में सबसे कम। तो ये तो हमारे पास उपलब्ध भी है और हम इसको यूज कर रहे हैं।
थैंक यू सर।
And just to let you know that we have 2 stations, charging stations, with a capacity of one with 100 vehicle parking and one is with 50 vehicle parking, and both are solar based. And I'm not saying that we are storing that energy, we are just selling that energy back to the government through net metering, and our charging or the electricity cost has reduced to 50%. So we are using solar in charging infrastructure as well.
Just I would like to add that in the EV sector we have another opportunity to, EV is not only for the running the cars or maybe mobility purpose. You can use it for the energy purpose also, because it has the capacity to store the energy, and then from that storage you can just aggregate or transfer to the grid. So that's the another vision I am looking into the aspect of the EVs. So that could be the good vision, and that's what I want to add, that the solar energy is part of that.
Okay, so you charge with solar energy and then give it back to the grid, right? Something like that. Okay. We have time for a couple of questions more. So
I have a question related to swapping policy. So the performance of brand new battery would be much better than the 2-3 year old battery, right? So if I have a new car and I go to swapping station, I swap it with maybe 2-3 year old battery. So what is the perspective of the person who is swapping the battery? I just want to know about that.
So for the swapping, we have to understand one concept, that battery is not yours. As we have a petrol vehicle, petrol is not yours. You are just buying that petrol and using it as an energy. So in that case, you are just owning that vehicle. So you don't have to worry about the battery because it's a third party owned. You are just using it as an energy. So whether it is 2-year-old, 3-year-old, you don't even have to worry about the battery warranty, because you are just going to use it for your next trip. Next trip means till it get the empty. Okay. Yeah, so you don't have to worry on that.
In the terms of the car, you said these batteries which we use, it is having a weight of 250 kg, and it is placed inside the petrol tank. For that, the particular car I'm saying, it is not possible to swap, because 250 kg you have to place it, and some mishappening happened, the fire and short circuit, we will be in the jail. So that is something in the 4-wheeler.
Yeah, I agree.
To an
So, yeah, swapping has its own limitation. That is what Javed you are mentioning, right? Swapping has its own limitation.
300 kg of battery.
So, I have seen research where I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. So, where they divide the battery up into many parts and then they swap probably one part of it. Because there are a lot of
So
series
that we also use that thing like we did it, but that is something, you know, the smart BMS, you have to make the master slave BMS thing. But sir, our motive is to make the tech simple, not to complicate. If you make it complicate, that will be, you know, in the right now the AS48 was there for the battery testing. Now it is 50. So you have to go through the passing, because after that you can be legal on the road.
Okay.
So that is the thing which you have to work on. Like for
Professor Geetam wants to add something.
No, I was just saying that I know Delhi government is already doing it for three-wheelers. In Dwarka, they have put these stations where three-wheelers come and they just swap their batteries and go.
Is there any other last question? We'll have time for one more. Almost. One more.
Sir, myself Shreyans from IIT College, University of Delhi. So my question is that, sir, you are trying to, sir, electrical vehicle you are telling. Sir, it is for only a 2 or 3 vehicle, matlab, 2-wheelers or 3-wheelers. It is not for loaded vehicles like if we sit in a car, it is for 4 or 6 peoples. And if we see large vehicles like loaded vehicles or trucks and other pickup vans, these need a high energy, high engines where they can carry a load. That electric and then their engines can be replaced by your electric engines or not.
So what you said is that already we are making a 30-ton electric crane. So that is being developed by the OEM. This is the same we are working on, and the good part is that we are not using the lithium-ion batteries there. So there are many questions, why not lithium? Because in the crane you have to put a counterweight of 5 ton. So we use the lead. You get my point, to just make it simple. Where we have to put a lot of, the iron dust and all, make the 5 ton, we use the lead acid batteries to counter the weight. So we are working on that at Hisban, we're going to launch in after 2 months.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay.
Just one, I would like to add to that.
Okay. Just a minute, yeah, please.
So, just to answer your question, you are talking about means just 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, and 4-wheelers. So, one of the biggest sector where the electrification is happened is the railways part, right? So, railways part, if you see earlier, it was diesel locomotives. Now we have hardly any diesel locomotives right now, right? So whenever the diesel locomotives are there, now we are thinking about battery driven locomotives, because the lithium-ion battery can help. And as Javad has pointed out about the issues with counterweight, there may not be any issues with the counterweight in case of locomotives. So, and there are in the European countries, there are electric ships, okay? So electric ship propulsion is coming, more electric aircrafts are coming into picture. So these are the sectors other than 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers and 4-wheelers where electrification in transport has happened and will be happening in soon.
Yeah, I will add, we are going to build the electric highways where the loaded truck will act like take the electricity from the overhead wires. So something huge container means where the load are the issues. That will be not the issue. So in the electric highways there will be wire and then there will be electric motor, and that will it will carry out the big heavily loaded containers even for the 2-tire truck you can see. So like that type of things is also coming in India. So hopefully we will see that lot of changes on the Indian highway.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hemant Singh Jeena. I am from IIT College, University of Delhi. My question is for Javed sir. As you said that nowadays EVs are only for the short route or short range. So my question is that is it not possible to make EVs for a long range, or what are the problems or challenges can we face for making EVs for long routes? Thank you.
Basically, it is not something there are a lot of cars. If you go with the BYD, currently they have launched a vehicle with a 500-kilometer range. So there are a lot of vehicles, the new vehicles which are in the market with the good range, good mileage, and everything are there. But when we talk in the economics, they are 30 lakhs, 28 lakhs. For me, I can't afford that. But for being into the retrofitment, we can offer that range, but that doesn't make a sense for me as well. The car is not able to hold that much of weight because we have been instructed not to go 25% more weight than the actual weight. So that is something which we have to work on. But yes, the actual practical range which we can go for, yeah, in that term, we can work on the batteries, the battery tech, and where we can have used the small batteries in the size, in the weight particular, and have a good capacity. So that is something which we can work on.
Add to your point, actually the philosophy that is evolving from all these EVs, as I see from the last 2-3 years, is that see, initially the idea was to put a lot of batteries so that they can go a long way, right? So, but the problem is this weight of the battery, and also lithium-ion is actually not a safe battery. It carries fire and all these problems are there. We make a joke in our system. We are sitting on a time bomb, basically, right? So anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that so with time, what is evolving, it has not evolved yet. What is evolving is use a smaller battery with 200-kilometer kind of range, but have a lot of chargers. Yes. Okay, so that is one philosophy that works very well because then you don't have to. The cost will be low for the vehicle, and then you go for 200 kilometers, take a break, and things like that. So that is also another.
So in this part, we are working on the graphene batteries. We have successfully made it for for the bus, but currently the weight range is around 180 kg. 80. Like what we are getting in the 15 kilowatt, the 80 kg is reduced. So that is something that tech when it get advanced, when it get more mature, so that can be, because EV is something in which every month the tech is changing. You're talking about the lithium, next time it is a sodium.
Yeah, depending on the country, the solution has to change, right? And we don't have any lithium, so we have to import.
So we have graphene.
From China.
We have to have some alternatives which are local, indigenized. So we have to have some alternatives for lithium here.
Definitely, sir.
Okay, so let me just conclude the discussion here. Any last thought from our panel members before I conclude? Okay. All right. So I must thank all our members for being. For me, it was a learning experience. I work mostly on EV chargers, so listening to various breadth of research that is going on and breadth of development that is going on in the startup business from young professionals like Rahul and Javed. It was very, very nice to see, and I must thank you all for being a part of this effort.